Hola, hola, familia, and welcome back to Tech and Tequila, the podcast where we talk about tech business, or I should say we talk business, period. And of course, generally we pour a little something to make it go down smoothly. Now, I'm your host, Kat Lopez Shelby. If you haven't heard of me, I'm sorry, you're missing out, but I'm your techie chica. And I am super excited about today's conversation because it's been in the works for a while. And of course, I have to say, Kelli has been a part of the podcast before, but today we are sitting down with Miss Kelli, and she is the Chief Technology Officer at Legacy TSD. And if you already know, you know, but in case you don't, I'm going to give Kelli a few minutes to kind of explain what Legacy TSD is. And of course, give anyone who doesn't know you, Kelli, a little bit of your background as well.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I just have to say that I'm super excited to be back. So good to see you on this side of the camera and in this part of the world. But yeah, so Kelli E Ballou-McMillan, super just grateful to be in a capacity to take some of the things that I've learned and to layer it into an organization like Legacy. So Legacy is a education platform. At its core, we're an education platform for new partners learning how to navigate the channel, the referral route to market channel. And essentially what we're doing is we're taking people that have this aptitude for technology. Maybe they work for a vendor today, or maybe they're in education, or maybe they again just have a knack for technology and they're looking to do a career change and pivot. And we're teaching them kind of everything from starting up your own organization all the way through client engagement and understanding what a sales cycle and process looks like. And so between myself, Ronell, and Nate, we have quite a few years under our belt, not only, building businesses to revenue generating, and also navigating, again, back at the top, just the referral route to market space, engaging with customers, marketing, and all of those pieces are layered into this organization. And it's to pay homage to all of those that came before us, because Legacy is about where you were before, what came, with things that you learned along your journey. And then also it is pushing you into making sure that you're setting up the space for those of us that are coming along. For some of us, those are our littles. For others of us, those are maybe some other mentees in the space. And so it's an opportunity to give back, but in a very meaningful way.
I absolutely love that. And to give a little more context to Legacy, because I know it's yourself, Mr. Ronell, and Nate, how did you what led the path to y'all making the decision to start Legacy?
Yeah, so Ronell and I have crossed paths in the channel. We crossed paths quite a bit ago during COVID, actually, under his Business and Bourbon brand. And then a few years later, after, building this friendship, we came and sat on my board of Exposure, for which is a nonprofit in the channel to help people of color as they navigate the channel and really pivot from individual roles, maybe in technology or outside of technology, into channel. So this is kind of in that same vein, but it's the next level of iteration by really helping individuals become entrepreneurs. Right. And so that's kind of how we got here. Is we came out of the DE&I era of, and I say era, although people of color know that DE&I isn't something that is a just popular right now scenario. It's literally, our lives. And also, but in corporate, it had a big spotlight on it for a few years. And so one of the things that was really important for us is we closed down Exposure because there are a lot of other amazing organizations that kind of spearheaded up out of that. We wanted to be a little bit more streamlined and impactful. people. And so Legacy was born out of that. It was like, okay, Kel, we've been helping people navigate from a career perspective. How do we do this from an entrepreneur perspective? And Legacy was born out of that. So, it's not just about representation, obviously, in the technology channel, because we know that that can be a little bit skewed, but also it's to create an opportunity for ownership and long-term economic mobility for people of color, for women, for Indigenous people, Latino, everybody that's kind of not represented really well, I believe, in the channel and in business. They're now represented. They can be represented. They can come learn from us how to navigate and build a business under Legacy.
No, I love that. I love that. And in fact, I think Legacy answers in a way, and I want to say it's called the Hispanic Wealth Project. Just bear with me. One of the pillars that it talks about, which is that in order for you to create generational wealth for your family and, for the future, right? And I'll say for mi gente, in the case of like being a Latina, it's to actually be a business owner. So that in lieu of you building something for someone else, you're building something for yourself. And as I would say, a legacy for yourself and of course for your family, which I love. Now, one of the things I really like to do when we talk about this, because, we get an acronym to death sometimes in the channel, and not just in the channel. My friend in insurance is like, y'all are not the only ones, but
insurance is wild.
Exactly. So, when someone or a listener hears chief technology officer, a lot of people are going to picture someone locked in a room somewhere, like in a server or what, chief technology officer. But what really is your position as the CTO, and what does your day-to-day look like doing that?
Oh, I love this question. Really, as a chief technology officer, I will say that it does look very different for different organizations, right? It depends on what your focus is, what your mission is. And for us at Legacy, when it comes to my mission and my serving as a CTO, it's really to make sure that our partners learn about other technologies and that they learn about technologies in what I believe you should do when you're presenting them to your customers in an ecosystem, right? So we want to expand their knowledge base on the various technologies that are out there that are transforming business for their customers. And so a lot of the cohort members, although we do still have space, we'll talk about that later, the cohort members are kind of locked into either cybersecurity or AI, or maybe they have some communications, telecommunications background, right? But there are so many there's a litmus scale, there's a huge, portfolio of technologies. So what I do and what I've done is drill those down to what is the most impactful, what's the core package that you can offer to your customer after you do an assessment on what they're utilizing today. And so one of those things, we start with Tim, which interestingly enough, I've worked on the vendor side of the house. I work on the vendor side of the house, but I didn't really understand Tim until recently, leaning into our technology partners that we're working with from a Tim perspective. And there was only two that we're going to work with really from each segment. But Tim is very much a amazing lens into what your customer spend is, right? So then it helps with that assessment that Ronell is teaching them from a customer engagement perspective. It's like, hey, Tim is going to show you how much they're spending, where they're spending their dollars. Not only when I say where, it's not for which technology, but globally, where are they spending their dollars? Where do their people sit? What type of software are their people using? What kind of hardware are their people using, right? And so it really gives you a great lens. And so we start there and we go, there's a few other pieces that we have in there, and then we end somewhere around AI, and only when an organization is ready, right? And so as a CTO, again, sorry, it was a long answer, but as a CTO, it's really important to go through and vet the right technology partners. And not only from a partnership, to me, a good partnership obviously has a technology that works, but then it also has people that are going to be look, we all have lives. So I want, my teams to have balance. But when I have an escalation or issue, I know it's going to be taken care of, and someone that can do implementation really well. To me, those are the three pieces to a great partnership. And so I look at that as well. And so when I've done the evaluation of the partners that have made it into our program, those are the things that I've looked at. And as a CTO, that's my responsibility to our cohort and subsequently to their customers that they're going to, support.
No, and I really like that. As somebody who's in the channel, and I always tell my clients, don't get attracted by just the shiny object syndrome. That may be a great discussion starter, but before we go down that path, I think that a lot of times it can be overwhelming when you have this, let's say 600 plus suppliers to evaluate and look at. So with you guys narrowing it down, that's really going to help to be strategic about those partnerships. I love that.
Yeah.
So sure. I really like that. Now, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but before we get too deep in this, you've been in the channel for a while. And, obviously you said we see lots of trends. We see lots of things going, and you said AI, which, you cannot, I don't think you can't pull up anything without seeing AI on some way, shape, or form. So while you guys are working with them in Legacy, how are you kind of sitting at that intersection between, okay, you want to be ahead of the trend, but what is a hype, and like how to evaluate that with your customer?
Yeah. So, there's so many different lenses of AI, right? And I think sometimes in the channel, which I have been out of the channel for probably almost close to 2 years now, working for AI companies. And so, that has been a very interesting lens to be a part of, not only just the technology and how they go about technology, but their types of partnerships that they lean into, right? Which is probably the reason why I was out of the channel, because they don't have a TSD route or referral. They do different layers of partnerships, right? But also the consolidation that's happening and how quickly we have moved from generative to agentic, and how much more, like even now I looked at an update on my phone and it was like, what do you want to name it? Right. So now, the Series of the world or the Alexas, now they're getting more personalized again. And that's more robotics and artificial intelligence from that perspective. But the way that we look at it in the channel, I just think that it all goes back to your customer readiness and how well are your customers leveraging it today, and what is the right solution for them, because it's not a one size fits all. And also, but it can also make your organization more efficient. And so I think that, clearly you can hear even from my response that there's so many different avenues and tangents you can kind of run down. But I think that it's really having an open and honest conversation with your customer to understand their aptitude, what their teams are already using today, and how they want to layer it into their business, because it goes back to their mission statement, the integrity, and then how they're wanting to scale.
No, and I like that because, sometimes things are a little overhyped. And one of the things that I talk a lot about is that you cannot throw AI on a broken process because all you're going to discover is the process is still broken, right? Mm-hmm. It's not fixed, which is great.
So have even more confusion and challenges, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're trying to, but maybe someone can come in and help you figure that out. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, okay, this is a great intersection for us to talk about how did it break? Like, what is the problem? And for lack of a better term, starting with here's the outcome we want and working backwards to figure out what are the roadblocks and what are the bottlenecks exactly. So obviously, there's lots of things that are overhyped. There's lots of things that you hear about constantly. And I love the aspect of that you all are taking with Legacy to help kind of hone people's skills to start on the right foot, so to speak. Maybe going a little more in depth with that and kind of how you are helping. And I'm going to use the term the first the cohort for Legacy is, I'm mission statements, standard operating procedures, like how to start them out on the right foot and with success?
Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing about Legacy. Legacy is, well, like I shared earlier, we're an education. We're trying to help them build their knowledge base, be more well-rounded, but also within that training, it is a very in-depth training. I don't know if anybody has seen, shout out to Ronell. Ronell has built an entire LMS tool for us. There's another acronym, but a learning management system for us. And, but his platform, his sales platform on LinkedIn, and his Shut Up and Sell book and all the things, like he has a proven track record for helping big companies transform their sales teams. And so what he did was he built out ours. And so we're helping these entrepreneurs, these aspiring entrepreneurs, with their sales process through a very intensive training program. It's a 12-week program. But then also they get one-on-one time with us for mentorship, because there are some things that even with training, there are questions that come up. In some of the interviews, for instance, for our cohort members, they're like, so what about this? And what about that? And how should I structure my business? And do you think that this is going to, attract customers in this lens or in this realm, right? In this vertical. But what if I want to do this too, right? And so it's really exciting actually to see the cohort members, and the guys and I were talking yesterday, and I was like, I can't wait to see how they completely, bloom and flourish towards the end of this. And as they continue to grow and where their business is going to be at the end. Some of them are already in business. Some of them will be starting a business from scratch, but they have a really good framework. So it's exciting. But that between the mentorship and then the cohort themselves will have time to build within their community, right? So I think of it like any of the training programs, Kat, that we probably have sent you through or you've chosen to go through from a, TSD or a vendor perspective, where you're really leaning in and you kind of get that group of people that you never stop talking to, right? And so you lean in, and so they have community. And then really from there, the community is within their cohort and in the suppliers that I chose. And with all of that, we think that that's the secret sauce and really the layer, the entry point into the opportunity for them to grow their business.
I love it, because you just talked about one of the things that I think is really, 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 I would put like infinity reallys on this, important, and that is community. Because whether it's just community within the channel or as somebody who is an entrepreneur, it's having that person you can go to, right? And so what you're creating is this environment where people have the ability to be authentic, honest, and open, For someone who's listening that says, hey, this sounds like something I want to look into, kind of what is the time frame that you guys are looking, and like on both sides, like how long does everything last? What is the, for lack of a better term, like investment, whether that's time or, process, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so you can go to legacytsd.com, obviously, or you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn, and then I'll guide you there. But we're launching our first cohort in August. And so we're really excited about that. It is a 12-week self-paced training platform. And when I say self-paced, it's not that it just means that we're not going to meet at a particular time. You'll just do your training by yourself online. And then we have designated times on the weekend for us to all get together, have these conversations. And then later on in the course, so it'll be fundamentals and foundational on the front end. Later on, around week 5, we start to introduce supplier relationships. And then as we close out, we make sure that you understand what the sales motion should look like, we really lean into the sales piece of it as well. And so, like I said, it's about 12 weeks. There is a monetary fee for the platform, for the education, for the cohort. And so, between those two things, we believe that with that, again, the expertise, the community, again, as a CTO, me leaning in and choosing the right suppliers, we feel like that's going to help, your education around various technologies, again, that you might not have experienced before. And I think that, to me, those are the keys, right? Being in the channel for as long as I have, for as long as Ronell has, and for the vendor partner friends of ours that we're layering into this, we know that we're going to help a new advisor, a new legacy community member really grow faster, right? There are going to be certain roadblocks that they're not going to have to pivot through. They're not going to have to figure it out, because we're going to help them get there. Or maybe we built it so that they don't ever have to experience it at all. And so, again, community to me is a key, but a bespoke program for kind of navigating this space is important. I think you might even say the same, Kat. Like, when you came into the channel, there are a lot of things you had to figure out on your own. How cool would it have been to have somebody say, this is the direction, come sit in this course for X amount of time. We're going to teach you everything that you need to know. And then, you're off to the races, but with so much knowledge.
I know. I would like to put an amen on that one. I jokingly tell everybody that I'm the queen of like failing forward, which means that not that that's how we want to learn. We want to have success every time, but I always feel like you either get a blessing or you get a lesson, and those are your two options in life. So, there you go. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this, because obviously you've been in the channel and you've been in technology for a while, and something that's very near and dear to my heart is about what you talked about, which is representation. And I know from my own personal experience, and obviously I would say from yours, that getting more women in the channel is super important, and more representation at, I don't know, some of those summits we have coming up. That's my little thing for it. But what is any advice that you would give per se to, a female that's coming up, especially as someone who has been in leadership positions in the channel?
Really, the aptitude to run a business or to work for a technology company, but is amazing. Like, you can do that all day long, right? But to move over into entrepreneurship, other women need you. They need to see you there, and they want to see you win. And you're ready for it, is what I would tell a woman who's trying to navigate it. And there have been a few that I've interviewed. And I was just telling the guys yesterday, I feel like sometimes we're more risk adverse. We're like, I don't know if I want to do this. I have so many things on my plate, whatever. This program will help you navigate those things with ease. Right. And that's literally why we built it, is so that people maybe that do have a full-time job, or they do have responsibilities, because we all do, but we need more women in this space. And it is so much more different just in the work that Exposure has done, in the work that you and I physically being present in this space. We've been in rooms that were probably super cringe 15 years ago, and just being transparent. And now they are manageable, they're tolerable. We want to be in those spaces, right? And so that took some work to get here, but I would love to see so many more women here, because I think that the way that we approach community, the way that we approach even efficiency and creativity in our work could lend so much to the success of that woman, but others that are coming behind her as well.
Exactly. I love it. Oh my goodness. I was going to say Dr. Sarita Rios and me were talking about this recently, and this kind of leads into what I was going to talk about next, which we're going to go back to AI. I'm sorry, guys. Lots of AI on this. But it's that I think that right now, if there ever was a time for women to level the playing field and help on the back end to do more leveling, is to do more with AI, because we need more diversity in people who are programming AI, people who are using AI, because that is how AI learns to move forward. And especially as we move from, one set of AIs to another. So, that's huge. But what do you see as additional skills, and obviously not just for women, but for anybody, that people really need to have to make it past 5, 10, 15 years per.
I mean, this is going to get probably sound really basic, but it is also kind of my thing lately, is just getting back to the basics, especially as AI is continuing to push us so much in the future almost, right? And it's streamlining so many things for us and giving us so much time back. Then just get back to the basics, be present and be open-minded, right? To me, the organizations and this kind of resurgence of why we need technology advisors is because so many organizations have closed, they've shut down. I'm sure you've seen the rooms get smaller and smaller, right? And it's because people, one, don't have an open mind, and so they're unable to pivot to new technologies. And two, they're not setting up a succession planning, right? They're not succession planning, which is also legacy planning. So, my children, your children, maybe friends of the family who's interested in technology, you need to be pulling them into your business if you want to see that grow 5 and 10 and 15 years, because there are things that they are going to be looking for that is on that next wavelength that we won't even have visibility to, because we're kind of tunnel vision at a particular point in our human journey. So even with an open mind, there's still people that are younger than you or maybe have different experiences than you, which is why diversity is important, that that can come along with you as you're building your business. And then now you have someone to leave your business too, right? So, I mean, I think to me, I know that was a kind of jumbled way around, but those are the things that are really important, right? Having an open mind, using the free time that you have for creativity and for planning, succession planning and legacy for your business. And also kind of knowing when to walk away once you put those things into place so that you don't get stagnant.
No, I love that. I was like, what, everybody doesn't listen to podcasts about AI and technology on the weekend in their free time? I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
You're like, what?
What? I know. My poor husband, because I know one day I probably watched like 5 hours about, like, it was when they were doing the whole thing with like abundance, and I cannot remember his name right now, but abundance and AI and talking about that. I tell you, I was like on a kick one Saturday, but yeah.
Oh, I love that. Share it, please.
Exactly. No, and that's the thing. I think that, obviously with what you guys are doing is amazing. And, I will absolutely plug it because I am huge about building community. I'm huge about seeing more diversity, in all of its forms. And about leveling the playing field overall, which I think to a certain extent, and people can agree to disagree, or we can discuss it, that AI has the ability to be a bit of a leveler in the long run, because, you can play on your strengths, you can also learn from it. So there's lots of ways to make it work and become like superhuman. Mm-hmm. Now, I would be remiss because you've been in the channel for a long time, if I didn't say, what would be like one piece of advice if you were to give someone that's starting in the channel, or maybe is like, all right, it's my time to pivot, jump out on my own, that you want to make sure that they know, or that they're aware of, or looking towards?
I don't know if I have one piece. If I would say, I do have one piece. Be very vigilant about your brand, and how you show up. It doesn't mean that you have to abandon yourself and your values, right? Have integrity about yourself and do what you say, but be very vigilant about your brand, because what I will say is, even in the last, I don't know, probably the last 10 years, I haven't had to apply for a job at all. Like, I haven't. I've had the opportunity at great friendships, and, when you work in a space that can be so transactional, your brand is really important. And the people that you put around you, it helps the people, it helps kind of curate the group of people, that you put around you, right? It helps curate your community, and they will always look out for you. Recently, even with Legacy, with Legacy, we've had so much. I think on that one of our first calls late last summer, we had almost 100 people on the call because they were just excited to see what we were doing, right? And that's a lot for people in the channel. For those of you that are listening that aren't in the channel, we like to think we're really busy people. So like that was a lot for people to take out of their time and come and listen to us kind of talk about this really exciting launch that we're doing. And then I think about all the opportunities to attend conferences. We went to Afrotech, which was huge. And we actually launched at Afrotech in Houston, in my hometown, last November. And so that space, they were just like, oh my God, we're excited about what you guys are doing. Come on in, right? And so these are really big things. Even again, the last thing that I'll mention is I had the opportunity to join a new organization, and that when a previous colleague of mine found out that I was laid off from another AI company, which I'm not sad about at all. It was a great experience, but there was just a bunch of phone calls happening. Hey, this is going on. This company might have this opening. What are you looking for to do? Like, how can we help? Can we help you with your resume? Right. I was like, I have Claude, guys. But, it was really exciting to see this community come around you, because I am very vigilant about my brand. So again, another long answer, but that's what I would say. I'd say that be very vigilant, about how you show up, because relationships aren't one-sided, they're reciprocal. And when people know that that's how you move and that they can trust you, you have integrity, then it is, that's how you build some of your friendships that are going to take you through your next iteration of your human journey. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think the answer is perfect. It might have been it's very similar to my answers. It takes me a minute to get there, but we get there, right? It's a journey. It's a journey along the way. I love that. Now, you alluded to this as we were talking, but you recently took a position at another company. So I would obviously give you a chance to plug the company that you're working with now in the channel.
Yeah. So, I have been in the channel for a while. I worked at a TSD for a while. I worked at a big CCAS company for a good chunk of that, for about 7 years. And then I spent the last 18 months, almost 24 months, between two different AI firms, completely different technologies, but still very exciting stuff to see that in motion. Tokens and all the things from that perspective. And then recently I accepted an opportunity over at Genesis. And so I'm going to be a part of their TSD program. And that's really exciting stuff for me. It puts me back in the TSD channel. And it helps me help partners that are focused on that technology and helping their customers as they navigate leveling up from that perspective. This is enterprise and commercial customers that our partners will be helping. And it's been really exciting calling and talking to potential the partners that I'll be working with in my region, but also the TSD friendships and relationships that I've had. Again, it's one of those things that they're like, oh my gosh, you're back in the channel. And I'm just as excited too. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that.
All right. So for someone who doesn't know who Genesis is, if you were to give them I would say the elevator pitch of here's what Genesis is and here's what they do, what would that be for some?
Yeah. So Genesis is a cloud and AI powered CX and contact center platform. And they're a leader in the space. There's only, I would say, probably two other competitors. And what's really exciting about them is that they're always growing and really positioning themselves to not only for them, but their customers to be on the forward end of technology that's going to help them make their business more efficient, help them be more streamlined with their customers, and have a better relationship and experience with their customers. So very exciting stuff. I was on the other side. I was a competitor before. So this will be pretty cool to see the people that I'll be working with have been there for a very long time. They love being in this space. And so it's kind of exciting to be working with people that I've known for a while, and just to see what we're going to be able to do from a customer perspective and how we are going to help our advisors within that program really level up.
I love it. That's exciting, especially, and this is thus forth in Kat's opinion, when you've been on the other side, let's say a competitor, it's like, I already know what they're going to say. So we're set and ready to go. Like, I love it. I was just talking to another friend of mine that had a similar thing recently and moved from point A to point B. And she's like, I'm ready. I know everything that we're going to have to, like, they're going to say, we're better at this. And here we go. Now, we always do this now on Tech and Tequila, and that is a lightning round. So get ready. Here you go. So what is your favorite AI tool right now?
Liminal. Liminal AI is my favorite tool right now. And everybody that I talk to about it is like, what? So basically they are desktop as a service, but for AI platforms, and they pull all the different, they put a Claude, a ChatGPT, whatever you're utilizing as an organization, they put it in one place so that your team members aren't using their personal instances to vet your profit and loss statement. Okay, so I think that that's really cool. Again, I guess that's the nerd in me. That's the business mind in me is like, how do we secure this stuff first? And so, yeah, that's the coolest tool that I know right now.
I love it. Okay, and what is a leadership book that you always recommend to somebody?
Oh, let me see. I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking around my office because I have so many books in here. There is a book. I can see two right now. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna mess up your whole game. I can see two. One is Unleashing Your Hero. And then another one is The Memo. And The Memo, if I recall, is a book where a woman of color is navigating corporate America. And it's really like she's saying, hey, you have a right to be here. You can flourish here. Find your own way. And finding your own way, will help you really guide, again, building that brand, kind of like I leaned to earlier, but building your brand. And also it helps put the right people around you so that you can always be successful.
I love it. And if you had one word to describe the future of tech, what would it be? One word? Or a short set.
Exciting.
I love it. It is. It's super exciting.
It's super exciting. Yeah.
And of course, since generally we do tech and tequila, if you had a choice, are you a blanco, a reposado, an añejo, or a premium tequila person?
Okay, I'm just gonna break up all your games. I am a mezcal person, but if I had to do tequila, it would be an añejo.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. This one's kind of a little quirky, but if you weren't in tech, what would you be doing?
Oh my goodness. I would be a yoga instructor. And actually I'm training to be a yoga instructor on the weekend. So as if I don't have enough on my plate. But I am training to be a yoga instructor. So that's what I would be doing full time.
I love it. I love it because that is all about, like, what is the term? Being multifaceted. We're multifaceted. That's what we are. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Kelli, I greatly appreciate you being on. I love that we got a chance to talk about Legacy TSD. Now, before we leave, if anyone is listening to this episode and they're like, I love learning more about, or I want to learn more about Legacy TSD, or I want to learn more about Genesis, where do you recommend that they go?
Find me on LinkedIn, Kelli E Ballou-McMillan on LinkedIn, or find me on IG at OK Kelli, so OHKAYKELLI. And let's talk. I have a Calendly set up so that people that just have questions, they can come and talk for 15 minutes. That normally turns into 30 or an hour, but let's have a conversation. Let me see how I can get you down the right path of what you're looking for. I'm always up to that. I love a curious mind.
I love it. I love it. So obviously, thank you again, Kelli, for joining me today. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to seeing everything that Legacy does in the future. I know it will be wonderful with the amazing minds behind it. And as always, for my listeners, if this is your first time, thank you so much for listening. If you thought this was great, share it with someone because it always helps the algorithm. And as always, until next time, your tech should not cause you to run for an alcoholic beverage at the end of the day. Your tech should work for you. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.